presented by our fine sponsor at BetRivers. Matthew Cox running point tonight. Mr. Kai McKeon, Mr. Jim Root are my colleagues as they usually are. Jim, you gave this slate today a D-. I think that's a fair appraisal. It is finals week. It is kind of in this lull of the midweek, pre-Christmas, post-feast week thing. But hey, there's action out there for us to gamble on, and we so have, and we will discuss that. Kai, going to you first. Not a ton to learn from last night, but did you find a takeaway for us?
Well, I'm sure Jim will touch more on Creighton. And yes, they have lost 5
I wouldn't dare.
But I want to talk Arizona State real quick. Let's pump the brakes, boys and girls. We've seen this movie before. 2016, 10-3 start, missed the tournament. 2018, 12-0 start, number 1 in the country, 11 seed. 2019, 7-0 start, 11 seed. 2020, 8-2, TBD on the tournament. They're on the bubble. We've seen this movie before. Arizona State was impressive, Jim, against Creighton, but pump the brakes on if they're actually a good team yet.
Yeah, and again, it's Creighton without Kalkbrenner, and that's why I'm not really going to rip on Creighton, because I think he's mega important for them, despite how well Fred King played last night. Honestly, he was rather impressive filling in that center spot, but the sophomores are still figuring things out for Creighton. They still kind of can't shoot. I think that's more of an issue for them than really anything else we saw out there. But Kai, to your point on ASU, and it was the biggest game of the night, so it's worth reiterating. They beat Tarleton by 3, VCU by 4, Colorado by 1, Stanford by 4, Creighton by 2. Like, they have been lucky in close games. They did lose in overtime at Texas Southern as part of that Pac-12 SWAC challenge, but they've had some fairly beneficial luck down the stretch. Yeah. Shot making, like they've made some really, really tough shots. We'll see if that holds up as the season goes along. It is Bobby Hurley still, Matt, so I'm hesitant to fully go all the way in.
I kind of buy it. I'm sorry. Just this year, team defend. They haven't defended in forever, right? Like Hurley did the whole guard you thing for a while. It was fun. It was sexy and pizzazz, but then they did the ups and the downs, and now it's actually like a kind of a steady snail. This is a tortoise. His old teams were the hare, so I trust this team a little more. I guess that's the difference. Quick takeaway. Yeah, Texas, tough spot, like the toughest of all spots. Talking about the players specifically on the team. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole any farther, but just, I guess, hats off to surviving in overtime, or like mega concern that even without your head coach, you should probably beat Rice by more than 0 points in regulation. I don't know. Kind of torn on that one, guys. You're welcome to chime in. But without any farther profound thoughts, let's get into a really fun matchup tonight. Jimbo, going to you for this first one, because you are the initial stan of the overnight oats bandwagon. Alabama is hosting Memphis. Will there be a better win this year than anyone winning at Houston? I will contend not. Alabama comes off that win. Are they not sleeping tonight, Jim, but are they a little bit out of gas, maybe out of emotional zest against the Memphis Tigers this evening?
There's a chance. And I mean, they've been playing a complete gauntlet of a non-conference schedule this whole preseason or non-conference season, and they play Alabama on Saturday. So it's not like, they've got rest coming up. This is like, it's a sandwich, Kai, but they're playing Memphis. Like that's a pretty large game. I would lean towards Memphis here. They just have been fairly impressive this year. They're not turning the ball over like crazy, like every single year under Penny. Kendrick Davis has actually made an impact there. That's rather important for them. They get slightly better shots and they still defend. Dandridge and DeAndre Williams have been terrific defending the paint. They haven't really even needed our guy KO, the big long-armed alien. Right. He doesn't need to do that much.
It kind of dropped, yeah.
And they just got Demaria Franklin eligible. He got a waiver, another scorer wing, kind of burly wing transfer from Illinois, Chicago. Maybe that hurts the chemistry in game one, trying to incorporate him, but I think long-term that's good for Memphis. So Kai, over 7, I lean towards the Tigers. I did not bet against my Tide, though.
Yeah, they play Gonzaga on Saturday. You said Alabama plays Alabama, but yes, they play.
Oh, did I? Sorry, I meant Gonzaga. Thank you.
They play Gonzaga, a huge game. Yes, they scrimmage every other day, I'm sure, at Alabama. Yes, Alabama's riding high, man. Letdown spot? I would say so. Now, Scott says letdown spot for Memphis as well. I don't think so. I think Memphis is just as good as Auburn. It was a neutral floor. It wasn't nearly as emotional of a win as Alabama at Houston, which, by the way, Alabama was down 15 points. I mean, that's a heck of an effort to come back and win that game. And Memphis is tough, man. They should be 9-1.
Yeah.
They should have beaten Seton Hall. Like I said, they just handled Auburn on a neutral court. Alabama, Matt, killed Houston on the glass, which is impossible. And they've really been doing that to everybody. I'm concerned about that against Memphis or for Memphis because this team is kind of concerned with blocking shots, not boxing out. And if you do that against Alabama, you're going to get crushed. Memphis, not a great shooting team on the other end. They need to dribble drive. They need post play. They need boards to score. Alabama can defend that. However, 8 points, that's way too much. I would lean towards Memphis.
Yeah, I lean toward Memphis, the current number two. Penny loves Franklin, man. He's been hyping him up like every time he's interviewed. He talks about how they're really frustrated with the whole waiver process. He sees him as like one of their top, if not best, perimeter defender. A guy who can come in and sort of help Kendrick, handle the ball, create plays for others. I just like this version. I've said it a million times, a broken record. I like this version of Memphis better than the prior years. It's an older team, right? It's not as like jaw-dropping athletic or long, but it's still really athletic, and it's older, and it's a team that's not going to make dumbass bonehead plays in crunch time. And against Alabama on the road, hostile environment, I like Mike King Kendrick running the point. I would certainly lean that way. I didn't play it though, because of course I have Alabama rated in the moon, so no play for me.
Hey, by the way, Memphis will still do dumb things late.
Sorry. Like, it's not completely alleviated. Let's be very clear. The Seton Hall game was absolutely terrible, but we've seen some improvements relative to the bar that was set the last few seasons. Mm-hmm. Another fun quasi mid-major game, number 2 on the outline, Iona playing Princeton. This is being played at a random gym in New Jersey. I don't even know what it's, Harwood Arena, I believe. So yeah, I don't know anything about that, but it's basically not going to be on either team's home floor, but no travel for either team. So a true neutral site, at least what it feels like to me. Sticky Rick Pitino is cruising right now. The market seems to be buying into the big mo that he has. This line open 5. It's now up to -7. Your thoughts?
Iona's scary good right now. Last 4 games, margin of victory, 22, 30, 22, and 15. Like no one's standing in their way right now. And I thought their previous game against a pretty good opponent, I forgot who it was already, was very impressive for them to win by the amount they did. Princeton, though, no slouch. They've won 8 straight, albeit against lesser competition, certainly much lesser than Iona. Jim, Princeton's Princeton offense is very hard to prepare for. The counters to the wrinkles and every single positioning factor on that end. But Pitino's a hell of a coach. If anyone can figure it out on short rest or short preparation, it is Rick Pitino. Athleticism edge probably Iona as well. Is Junior Joseph versatile enough to guard Tosan? I kind of think he is, or at least somebody on that roster is. No interest in stepping in front of the Iona train. I do think 7 might be a tad high, but I'm staying away.
Yeah, I took this at 5.5. It was opener a little bit at 6 as well. I kind of am buying the Iona train. We heard Rick Pitino lament his team's defense like 2 weeks ago, and since he's been playing Junior Joseph and Shima together, and they've completely taken away the rim. Nobody can score inside. I don't know if they'll throw Nelly Junior Joseph at Tosan or John Louis, who's kind of like their defender extraordinaire. He's given up a little bit of size, but he's strong, and I think he can battle there. So I'm liking Iona here, Matthew. I just, especially with the way they've dominated the paint, I think they can score repeatedly inside. I don't know that Princeton can really stand up to them, like pounding the ball inside and getting after the offensive glass a little bit. And by the way, this is at Keene University. So, respect Keene, Matthew, not some Keene random gym. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to offend our proud Keene alumni members watching. So spoiler, this is the best bet for me. I'm going against the grain here. I'm taking the Princeton Tigers, guys. I looked at the Iona resume a little closer. Yeah, they've been awesome, but I feel like I don't need to be completely mortified of them, right? Like, okay, they beat Niagara, who was banged up by 20, whatever. Canisius, they killed Canisius. Okay, Canisius is terrible. And then SLU, I think, is a little bit broken as well. So I didn't give that a full A mark of performance. And then St. Bonnie, that game was tied down the stretch late, and they needed a big run to put it away. I know it's been awesome. I'm not going to I know I'm clearly picking, I'm nitpicking here. But Princeton's been really good too. Quietly won 7 in a row.
8. I
like the concoction that they have going for them right now. With that they had their own kind of quasi 2 big lineup there with Tosan and the other who the other junior, I forget his name, Quellman, I think his name is.
Keyshawn Kellman, yep.
Yeah. My concern is handling pressure. If Rick goes full court press for 40 minutes, I'm going to be shaking in my boots. I don't think he will, though, coming off a short turnaround. I think he kind of eased into this game. That should help Princeton get off to a good start. So Princeton +7 at the current number is my best bet. Ta-da. All right, next game up. Another one I have action in. NC State hosting Furman. Battle of the Carolinas. Jim, the Fighting Dins have been a baby of ours for the last few seasons. We're huge Bob Ritchie fans. They're not defending so well this year. He talked about in the post-game presser some major, some autopsies were done to address what was the root cause of defensive issues. Need another late surge to get by Winthrop last game, a decent but not great one. I'm worried about my Dins. That's my angle of this handicap here. What's your thought?
I'm worried about either team stopping the other. I don't really trust either team defensively. NC State just lost Mahorcic, who I think is their best defensive big. You mentioned Winthrop. Well, now NC State's got to play a ton of DJ Burns, former Winthrop big, and he is immobile. He's big. He's an awesome one-on-one post player, but he's not really a paint protector. Like, he's not going to be positionally super sound there. And Furman will move guys around. They'll have Jalen Slauson at the top of the key trying to pull Burns outside of the paint. I think that's a problem. I don't trust the perimeter defenders for NC State. I don't know if Terquavian Smith could keep me in front with my banged up knee. That's my concern. So I like the over. I basically sort of talked myself into that. I think there's a lot of points. I think NC State will get it going up and down. Furman will be relatively willing to play that. They're not a hyperspeed team, but I think we see possessions and efficiency here, Kai. I didn't have a take on the spread. It felt about right to me.
Yeah, man, I wanted the over. The number is just sky high. It's 155 at BetRivers right now. It scared me off a little bit. I don't think Furman's as good as KenPom thinks they are, and that hurts me to say. That pains me because I love this team. As Matt said, they've squeaked by some so-so squads. Their ending margins have looked more impressive than they've actually played. They lost outright to High Point, Old Dominion. And NC State's been solid. They've lost 2 of the last 3 for sure. Mahorcic is definitely important, in my opinion. On-off splits support that. And he's also their most physical player by a long shot. He's really their only muscle they have on their team. And he split the minutes with Burns, like Jim said, 50-50. The drop-off from him to the next guy is steep, and Burns can't play more than 20 minutes per game. He just can't do it.
Yep.
Furman's experienced, well-coached. They're a dangerous underdog as well who can shoot and score. Usually you want to be on those type of dogs. I lean their way, especially with the lack of NC State bucket protection tonight.
Yeah, no, I kind of head faked everyone with my primer that was very anti-Furman. I bet Furman tonight at plus 6.5. I think Kai's brought up the matchup points. I think Furman's a great giant killer against teams that don't have like an interior beast that's going to bludgeon them. NC State doesn't have that, especially without Deuce-Out. So yeah, I like the Dins. I think this is a signature win that Bob Ritchie badly needs this year, and kind of a struggling-ish start to the year. Next game, man, Marshall. When I see this team pop up on the slate, I get terrified because I know they're a top 10 team in the country right now. They travel outside of Pittsburgh, where they've spent the last week basically just demoralized Duquesne and Robert Morris. Now they go to UNC Greensboro. Jim, Mike Jones, Mike Jones almost took down Pig Suey in Fayetteville last game. Do they keep it rolling tonight against the red hot Marshall Herds?
Your guess is as good as mine. Marshall is the ultimate I can't figure them out team, and that shouldn't be the case considering they're 8-2 against the spread. Seems like just bet them every time, Jim, and you do well. But I'm 0-2 betting on them. Hopped in on the 2 wrong games when they did not cover against Queens, when they did not cover against Chicago State. Yuck. Also, I think 0-4 fading them and 0-2 betting their over. So, Kai, I am clueless with Marshall games. I think they're fantastic, and I'm a big fan of Handlogton, the big 7-footer that they've got that's been kind of kicking butt and taking names in the paint, protecting the rim. And I pointed this out to you guys, like Marshall's never been even remotely decent at offensive rebounding. And now they're like fully elite. They get second shots in a top 20 rate in the entire country. That concerns me a little. Greensboro's got size, but it's not hyper physical size. Baz Lyda is more of a perimeter kind of inside out type of big man rather than a banger in the paint. That said, I made the number lower and I should have bet Greensboro, but I sat on my hands because I'm terrified of Marshall. Kai, tell the people why I should have bet Greensboro.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Marshall 8-2 against the spread, and I thought I had him rated pretty high, but these lines are consistently inflated in favor of Marshall, probably for good reason. Greensboro, Matt, they're off that great effort against Arkansas. They have their star, Kennedy, back in the lineup. He's huge for them. He's enormous. The couple games they lost, you could probably directly point to him being out as the majority of the main reason that happened. And Mike Jones is a good coach. He knows he needs to keep this game in the half court to have a chance. I am on Greensboro at a higher number, 2.5. I can't recommend. It's Marshall's third road game in 6 days. I know they were in the same spot the prior two, but that still matters a little bit. It has to for a team that runs so much. And Greensboro really prioritizes stopping the middle, stopping the inside of the arc, stopping the paint. That's where Marshall's really lived recently. Their outside shooting hasn't been that good. So if Greensboro can keep this in the half court, they can keep Marshall out of the paint. They have a good shot to win this game outright. The question is, do they have enough firepower on the other end? TBD.
Marshall's sneaky, no depth, 353rd in bench ranks. Like they really rely on their top 6 big time.
Yeah, and they run a lot. Yeah, I think all the spot points you guys said were apt. The one thing I'm worried about as a UNCG backer myself is turnovers. That's where Marshall's been deadly. Like their transition attack's been awesome. They get up and down quickly. They find open shooters. They get to the rim for easy buckets. Just don't turn the ball over, Spartans. And I think this kind of molds into a back and forth slog type of game, which may favor Greensboro down the stretch, especially at home. Maybe that those tired legs start to show themselves in the second half. So. But no bet currently at the price now. It's down to like 2. So yeah, I wouldn't. If you're looking to hop in and ride or tail us on Greensboro, now is not the time. If anything, bet Marshall if you're leaning that way. Chat mob round 1. It's time.
All right, we'll start with Scott H. Kai asking about a game out west that a lot of money has come in on the dog, and I frankly disagree with it. Portland State at Santa Clara. I'm liking the Broncos. Kai, am I crazy for being an AirPods man today?
No, I have no take on this game, Jim. I suppose I lean towards Santa Clara as well. Portland State's a hard team to fade or bet because they're so unpredictable. They're erratic. They have the ability to compete in every game, but they also have the ability to get blown out. So it's a team I'm not really looking to do either one with.
They lost by 23 at Cal Poly, and that's the low of them. But then they've competed with pretty solid teams. They've beaten Oregon State twice. They press a lot. Scott H was asking to tell me about it. They get a decent amount of down transfer talent. They press a lot. So that's why it's kind of up and down and can be based on their engagement level. That's very important. Matt, Billy Evers asking if Boston College should be favored by 12 over anyone. I sort of think no, as Stonehill a potential wager here.
Yeah, and I kind of like Stonehill. I watched them play a couple of times. They're not, again, another new D1 team that's better than everyone thinks. So probably a good angle just on that alone.
They have almost no athleticism, but they can shoot. They play smart. They play disciplined. So yeah, kind of lean that way. Ashton Langford is playing for BC. He's missed the last couple. That's big, but I still don't trust him as a big favorite. Kai, road favorite UNC Asheville going to South Carolina State. The Bulldogs have taken a little bit of money as a road favorite, been bet up. I agree with it. Do you?
I agree with the move, Jim, but I'm not fading South Carolina State. That's a team that seems to cover every single game unexpectedly.
Yeah, no,
this is their first home game of the season. I can definitely see them winning this game outright as a +8 dog. I might even sprinkle some money line, to be honest. This just feels like they could win this game.
They have been really good. Like
Asheville's not been good, by the way, lately. They've been terrible. Their efforts have been really bad.
I will say South Carolina State 5-6 against the spread. So it's not like they've been superhuman, but they have been better recently.
Lucky.
So, Drew Pember 40-20 probably, but yeah, we'll see.
I hope so. Matthew, DC's best team, maybe,
American,
is hosting VMI today. Yes, hosting VMI today. Should we be back in American, the Eagles, as they continue this kind of incredible run they've been on this year?
It is. It's a ridiculous number. I can't lay it, but I get why it is what it is. American's been awesome. They've gotten healthier. They were actually improving before they got key guys back. Now it's like an additional jolt in the engine for them. And VMI is not. I don't know. I think they kind of flop in this game, to be honest. So yeah, I would lean American. It's just too big of a number for me to lay.
Yeah, they're still missing Colin Smalls, one of their starting guards, but it has not mattered. Like they have been fantastic so far, both straight up against the number, however you want to measure it. They've been terrific. Kai, UTSA going to Utah. We've kind of talked about these weird one-off random travel spots, and UTSA is going to altitude here. I thought this number was big, but I fear this kind of particular spot.
Yep, thought it was big as well, but I stayed away. Utah probably pounds them.
I did. Yeah. I took Utah. They will pound them.
Interesting. I took UTSA small, Matthew. So
what?
I think the numbers come down a little bit.
It has. I have 23.5.
UTSA stinks.
Maybe we can both win, Matt. Maybe we can both win.
They stink. Utah by 40. Continue. Next question.
UTSA covered against New Mexico, which is like impossible to do. So how about that?
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
All right, Matt. Will Jones. One more. We'll get back to the outline after Will's question here. Eastern Washington at Texas Tech. Man, the Red Raiders might be shorthanded. It sounds like Jalen Tyson will be back, but we don't know about Daniel Bacho. He's like truly a game time decision. You buying the Eagles on the road?
I am, but not at the current number. I think it opened 19, it's down to 16.5. Part of me is like, Matt, just take it. Like you're nitpicking over numbers at high teens and low 20s, but it's just a dead travel spot for Eastern Washington, right? They went from Cal, close, gritty win, went up to South Dakota State, had a huge lead and blew a huge lead, and now they have to fly down to Texas. Although Texas Tech is bad right now, man. I would lean fade there, but I just can't back East Washington with the spot that they're in.
Yeah, Texas Tech's kind of team like I don't fully trust right now, but yeah, like is this the right team to fade them with? That's debatable. All right, Matthew, back to the outline. Questions galore about UMass Lowell and Rhode Island, so we better do this game justice.
Hips at one, baby.
Kai, I'm going to toss to you quickly here. I don't have a ton of context on this game other than Rhode Island sort of, trying to find themselves right now, and UMass Lowell is a top 10 team in the country. So in that light, the line does feel very low, but it is wild to think that UMass Lowell would ever be favored on the road at Rhode Island. But that's kind of what, that's what Lowell's done so far this year.
You know what the amazing part about this, Matt, is? Rhode Island's taking money. This line's come down. And that is shocking from a market perspective. That's always betting on Lowell. But also the prospects of them being a 2.5 point favorite at Rhode Island, that's absolutely insane. I thought it was insane, though. They were a dog against UMass as well. They beat them. They're 8-2 against the spread. They're a fully formed team. That's what's dangerous about UMass Lowell. They are a fully formed, March-ready team right now. And Rhode Island is figuring it out. Even their last game against Army was way too close. Army came back several times in that game. And this team's lost outright to Quinnipiac, Texas State, Boston College, and Brown. I'm not trusting Rhode Island here. I'm not fading UMass Lowell again. No chance.
Yeah, I mean, Lowell is ridiculous in the paint. Like, they're awesome 2-point percentage offense and 2-point percentage defense. Max Brooks was like their best player last year, and now he's a reserve big man or like a 18-minute a game guy because they brought in Coulibaly, formerly of Pitt. He's been fantastic. Ayinde Hakeem, the former LaSalle transfer, has been kind of dictating tempo and getting into the paint at will.
He was so really fast. Good. So fast, man.
Lowell is like actually really good. Rhode Island, they might live at the free throw line here, Matthew, because they do draw a lot of contact, and Lowell tends to hack a little bit, but they're deep. They're not going to really be worried about losing anybody to foul trouble. I am fully sitting this game out. I cannot figure Rhode Island out. I still think the roster is a lot better than it's showing, and I think Archie Miller's a good coach, but man, it has not come together yet. So I don't know what to do with this one. Do you?
I think Jalen Carey coming back last game and playing very well for Rhode Island is what probably might be influencing some of the bettors that took the Rams early. He played 27 minutes, 5 assists, 1 turnover. That team badly needs guards, like consistent guard play. So that is maybe, if you want to go against the UMass Lowell, if you want to bet on the UMass Lowell regression variance monster, I think that's a point in your favor, the fact that Carey came back last game. But I'm not doing that. So good luck betting against Lowell. It's served me no good so far this year. Next game, FIU at Howard, staying in the Northeast, Jim. Big news for the Bison getting their star point guard back last game. Now FIU, I believe this is their their second road trip of the year. This team's been very whack-a-mole as well. Getting Denver Jones back last game was key. I don't know. See a few moving parts here. It seems like a throwaway spot for FIU, so that's why I didn't play them.
I kind of like the over. I think with Hawkins back for Howard, they're going to be much more willing to run. And it's not just Hawkins. They got Shai Odom, their best freshman, back. They got Dockery, the former Maryland transfer. He's back. A lot more weapons for them to play with, a lot more depth to get up and down. And FIU's last road game, Matt, that you mentioned, was barely basketball at NC State. That game was the most ping-pongy, only 3 guys cross half court for each team every time down the floor. Barely basketball. I think we get more up and down tempo here. And I don't know if I trust FIU on the road playing that kind of skittery, uncertain, undisciplined basketball. And Howard is a lot better with Hawkins in the lineup. We saw them hang really, really tight with VCU as like 18-point dogs, even without Ace Baldwin. That's still impressive to hang around at VCU like that. So Kai, I lean towards over and Howard here.
Yep, over lean as well. And Howard is my best bet. +4. The market gave me some value. They're on FIU. I say Howard +4. I think they should be a little bit of a favorite in this game. Hawkins is enormous, and he came off the bench last game. I think he's more healthy this game. I think him, Dockery, and Odom will be fully back in the fold instead of playing complementary roles like they did against VCU. This is Howard's first Division I home game of the season. It only took till mid-December, but here we are. I think they get fired up for this one. They're healthy, like I said. FIU can lose to anyone. Heck, Eastern Michigan beat them, and that team is hopeless. It's going to be points. It's going to be a lot of possessions. Neither team wants to slow down. I think Howard can compete, Matt. I think they can win outright. Nothing really scares me about FIU. I like Howard's talent stacking up to him. +4, absolutely.
Love it. Let's go Fighting Gus Johnson's. Last game on the outline.
I took a bad number there, 3.5. 4 definitely like it.
Yeah,
same.
I think I still had FIU rated too highly. Who knows? All right, last one here. So we got 2 more. Excuse me. We're heading West Coast for our final 2.
All of these games seem like they should be the last one on the outline. Like, why?
Yeah, it's every game. I'm like, oh wait, these 2 teams are playing. This is weird. Oh, these 2. Yeah, a lot of odd non-con shoe-in games. Washington hosting Cal Poly. Mr. McKeon, I believe you were the banner holder for this Cal Poly team preseason. Maybe I'm overstating your confidence in this team, but you did like them. I pushed back against you, and sure enough, they're kind of cruising right now, fresh off a dominating performance last game. Do they keep it rolling in the what do they call Seattle?
I don't know.
I'm
sure the Emerald City, right?
Emerald City. Thank you. God, yes.
Yes, I did like Cal Poly this preseason. I thought this would be their best team in quite a while. However, I've not put my money where my mouth is. I should have bet them against Portland State. I didn't do it. Cal Poly's been rock solid last 4 games. Really good efforts. Washington's had its up and downs, but this is still a very talented team, and we've only seen them twice without Kepnang fully out of the lineup. They're 1-1. They beat Colorado, lost to Gonzaga. Can't really determine too much from that. The question is, can Cal Poly break this zone? They have some shooting, but it could cause some issues. Karoma is their main offensive guy. He's mainly a post guy, but he can step out. Maybe they'll put him at the free throw line. He doesn't have a very high assist rate, so I question his passing ability. We'll see. I'm worried about Cal Poly's ball security against the zone. I do lean towards Washington a little bit. It's just a little bit too high for me, Jim.
Yeah, the ball security is a problem, and they don't offensive rebound, which like you want to be able to do against Washington. Go get second chances. You might not get a high quality first shot because of how long they are in the discipline of the zone, but you can probably get second looks, and Cal Poly doesn't do that. Unfortunately, like Cal Poly has played 4 really good games in a row. They're up 60 spots in KenPom over the last 4. I was on them in the Pacific game, and the Cal Baptist one for some reason sat out Portland State. That would have been the comfiest winner of them all. I wish I had been a part of that, but the way they've risen has obviously impacted their line. So Matt, I don't know if there's as much value on Cal Poly anymore. In fact, I'm with Kai, sort of lean more towards Washington here. I mean, if you said pregame Washington 12 over Cal Poly, I'm sure you especially would have jumped all over that.
Yeah, I still lean Washington. I don't know why I haven't played it yet, to be honest. I just don't think I trust this Washington team, especially as a large favorite. And Cal Poly plays hard. Like, I watched them play a little bit on 2 different occasions. They're talented. They're somewhat talented. I don't think they're like extremely well coached from a tactical perspective, but they play really, really hard. I think that matters, especially going on the road against a favorite. I think that sort of DNA will play up well in class. And Kai mentioned they have some size up front, so I don't think this is like a complete bloodbath on the boards either. So yeah, I'll keep staring at it and probably not playing it. Last game on the outline, Arizona is hosting Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Wildcats looked absolutely dominant, impressive, etc. against my Indiana Hoosiers. Mr. McKeon, feels like a letdown spot, but I don't know, when you can throw the ball inside to DeBellis and Ballo anytime you want and score at will, maybe it's immune to a letdown.
It should be a blowout. Arizona should absolutely decimate them. But this Corpus Christi team is scrappy. They have played a couple power foes close in the past, especially last season. But Arizona's going to live the line. They're likely going to be fine with the ball pressure. And Corpus Christi will have a really hard time scoring the ball. They have to get inside. They can't shoot. And that's not going to happen against Arizona. The size edge is massive. I think the talent is too. Corpus Christi is extremely well coached. Extremely well coached. Steve Lutz is going to get a high major job, or at least a mid-major job, very soon down the road. Purdue guy, Matt Painter guy. It's just too many possessions for me, and I'm leaning towards Arizona here.
Yeah, I agree. Corpus Christi is a feisty underdog, but this is horrific for them, the matchup. Like, they're 340th in defensive 2-point percentage. Arizona is like top 3 on offensive 2-point percentage. They don't have the size to compete, and Corpus Christi likes to run. Like, you don't want to do that against Arizona. Give them up and down ping pong possessions where they can just fling it into Tubelis, who runs the floor, Ballo, who runs the floor. Over's been bet up like 4 points. Totally agree with that movement. I think we see something like 110 to 80 in this game. Like, I think this is just a massive high scoring type of game. And I would lean towards Arizona in that because the talent can play out over those possessions. So yeah, Matt, I like Corpus Christi, but not today.
Yeah, I agree. I like him in general, just not today, not on the West Coast, not against Arizona, even though Arizona's coming off that big chest beating win over the Hoosiers. All right, chat mob round 2, Jim. Go.
All right, Matt, I'm going right back to you for another DMV area question here. UMBC at the Greyhounds of Loyola, Maryland. Got another Princeton offense that could be tough to prepare for, but it also only scored 34 points last game, so maybe they're just bad. I don't know. What do you think? UMBC's been kind of a monster lately.
Yeah, except when they weren't for us in best bets the first half against Columbia. So I'm still mad at them for that. So they're in timeout, but yeah, they've been really good. I would lean toward UMBC, a team that has some good shooting regression coming its way, I would think.
Yeah, that's like if you like UMBC, you probably like the over. If you like Loyola Maryland, you like the under. Who controls the tempo type of thing. I lean towards the Greyhounds, but I don't feel good about it. Kai, day game today. A couple people asking about Longwood at St. Francis of New York. I think the number's a little low, but I have this like anecdotal memory of these day games where it's like the kids' school day trip and the home court is worth a ton. So I kind of got scared and sat it out.
Yeah, I think I said that Lowell was starting at 1. It's this game that starts at 1. That was my fault. I have no take in this game. Absolutely none. Longwood's got guys out. I have not been confident in taking them with them out. Now, they've been out for a while. Maybe you should just ignore them by now and just realize what level they're playing at. I got nothing.
All right, Matthew, USC Upstate at Florida State. Florida State got to beat down Louisville. Does that mean they figured it out, or is that just whatever? It's Louisville. Do you think USC Upstate can hang around?
I don't trust Florida State as a large favorite right now. No, that definitely not. I think it's probably a good matchup for them to blow out a team, but until I see some evidence that they're playing like a legit favorite, I'm not going to back them.
Yeah, Dan Ness said it's up to 15.5.
Yeah, money's coming on Florida State.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Daryl Turner Kai asked about the over in Fairleigh Dickinson Richmond. I definitely could see both teams struggling to stop each other, particularly FDU struggling to stop Richmond, and FDU likes to run a little bit. But I didn't end up betting this game at all. Did you have any take?
Not really. I don't know if the pace is going to be there, but the efficiency will be on Richmond's end for sure.
Definitely will.
They'll score whenever they want against Fairleigh Dickinson. No real take.
I lean Richmond. I lean Richmond there on this side. Now that I think more about it.
Matt from Pat Taylor, St. Peter's at Hartford. Hartford's been abysmal. St. Peter's is kind of rocked with lineup issues. They had like 3 or 4 guys out last game. Do you have anything here? I mean, like, do you have to wait to see if Jalen Murray and Jalen Sadler are back?
Right. Sadler, Murray. Yeah, I think those are so 2 of St. Peter's primary ball handlers, creators did not play last game. Even if they were in and guaranteed, I wouldn't want to lay 9 with St. Peter's against anyone, even though it's Hartford. I just don't trust that team right now. I think it's going to be good by conference play, but we're not there yet. And with those roster question marks, there's no need to get involved.
Yeah. Kai from the Renzo Bros, Mississippi Valley State. The Delta Devs are headed to Wichita State. The Shockers have kind of struck me as a pace taker this year, and Mississippi Valley State has played some slow games under George Ivory. So I lean towards the under, but it is pretty low. It's been bet up a little bit, so maybe get an extra value. I don't know. Do you have any take side or total?
I think I took a bad number. I'm on the under in this game. In addition to what you said about pace, Mississippi Valley State is one of the worst zone offenses in the country, and Wichita State plays zone. So I think they're going to have a real hard time scoring. I bet the game is like 70 to 40-ish, something like that. 60 to 30, something like that. Very, very
60
low
to 30 sounds great. And let's remember they Mississippi Valley State just lost 58 to 38 to Arkansas State. So that is
it's gonna be low.
Completely conceivable.
I think they cover though. I think my Delta Devils cover, baby.
27 points is
27 Wichita State
on a 127 total. That's like almost impossible not to cover.
Come on, Delta Devs.
Matthew, Ray Reyes asked, and we can kind of all give thoughts on this in general. Kai, if you have anything too, particular thoughts on the back-to-back like rematch type thing. Southern Miss going to Lamar after they just blew out Lamar. This game has been bet down. People are betting on Lamar, and I say good luck to them because Lamar is horrendous and has injuries. Southern Miss has been a juggernaut. I don't care what happened in the first game in this particular matchup, Matt. I like Southern Miss, but do you have any general thoughts on those rematch type situations?
I feel like I'm cooling on the trying to play the trend, basically backing the team that got blown out the first matchup. In this case, that would be Lamar. Maybe that explains the money we've seen, but I think it's more case by case as I've matured in age and wizened in my years of handicapping gems. And I think you think simple here. Southern Miss has been awesome, and they're a team that can completely suffocate your offense. Like I think Lamar scoring 50 points tonight will be impressive for them. So yeah, Southern Miss has issues on offense at times, but I think they claw their way to 65, 70 and probably cover this.
Yeah,
they're going to score. They're going to score 90. They're going to kill them again. How many
they score the first? I guess they did light it up the first time.
96, 59 or 58.
They're going to kill them. Yes, I can't believe they're not. That blows my mind.
I bet some Southern Miss first half and some full game, and was considering it for best bet. Another thing I almost best bet, I sent it to our group chat and then pulled it back. Houston first half. Will Jones and Scott H both asked about that. I do think we get very angry Houston off a home loss. They're playing an NCAA team that hasn't played in 2 weeks. So I think there's going to be some rust for them as well, coming out against like the most intense physical team in the country. I didn't officially go to it because it's up 1.5 from when I bet it, but I certainly would lean hard on Houston first half there. All right, that's it for Chat Mob. Best bets. My best bet. That is I'm swiping from Kai. Kai had a successful winner with the Prairie View Panther Pups in Chicago on Sunday. I'm doing the same thing here today. Prairie View is a dog +4 at Illinois, Chicago. No travel for them. They've been able to hang out here since the Northwestern game on Sunday. I think they've been hanging out, hopefully not getting too fat and happy on Pequods and drinking too much Malort. But
I haven't seen them out, Jim. So I think they've been hunkered down, watching film.
Good. Yeah, it's not like when we had the Neil intel that whichever team was out at Caesar's Palace.
Washington State.
That's right. Yep.
Bad apples out there.
So yeah, I'm sure they've been in studying hard for finals and stuff. And I honestly just think they're like even with UIC. I don't see them that far behind. And again, with no travel, not giving a lot for home, I will take the +4. That's my best bet. Kai, to you.
Mine's also +4, but it's Howard. Howard hosting FIU for a game they should hopefully be up for. Go Bison. Go Gus Johnson. Matthew.
Princeton +7. My best bet going against the strong headwinds of Rick Pitino and the Gales, who are cruising right now. But so it's kind of a cover your eye bet. But I think my Tigers get it done today in a neutral site. They sneak inside that +7 number. And that concludes today's episode of the Best Bets from a Tuesday. We are back tomorrow. We're off Thursday and back on Friday for those of you trying to map out your week of when you'll be attending the live program. So if you are, good for you. You should be doing that. But tomorrow we're back, same time as usual. Until then,